and welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. Welcome to February. Can't believe we're here already. As many of you know, February is designated as Black History Month, right? But you know, Black history is 365 days a year, and Black history is also American history. It's world history. You know, it's not just affecting Black people, but it is a time that some very well-deserved Black people are recognized for the contributions that they have made in the world, in their communities, and even just in their families. So we celebrate nonetheless. Also, February is, Valentine's Day. So it's the month of love. So what I'm going to be doing this month is I'm going to be combining those two things, Black history and love. And I'm going to be reviewing Black love stories, Black romance stories this month on the channel. And so first up, we have Restore Me by J.L. Seegars or Seegars. I don't know if I'm probably doing too much. I think it's probably just Seegars, but Restore Me. Okay. And I will tell you, this particular book is a part of a series, and they are all standalones, but they are very much interconnected. I have only read this one. Quite honestly, I really enjoyed this one, as I'll talk about, more here. But I don't know that I enjoyed it enough to go into the other people's stories, right? I may at some point, but there are just so many other books on my TBR that I'm not intrigued enough to push those books aside to finish up the series. So at some point, maybe I will, we'll see. So anyway, let me get my notes here. Okay, so the book follows a woman by the name of Sloan, who is a widow. Okay. And when the book starts, her husband has been dead now he's been dead for a while. I can't remember how long, because I'm getting this confused with another book where there was a lady who was a widow, but I want to say it's been some years. I think it's been some years, maybe, if I'm thinking about the right book. It's been over a year, well over a year, if nothing else, but I feel like it's been longer than that. But anyway, we meet her at this point, and she's, trying to move on with her life and work and her career and everything, but it's apparent that she hasn't ever really gotten over losing him, because as the author alludes to, something apparently happened like the day he died, and she feels like maybe she had something to do with that, maybe his state of mind or whatever. So then we meet the main male character. His name is Dominic, and he was the best friend of Sloane's husband who passed away. But also, him and Sloane, they have never liked each other. They just kind of tolerated each other for the sake of her husband, right? But they are also very entrenched in each other's families, because his family, still treats her like a daughter, even though, their son is no longer around. And then they treat him like a son because he was their son's best friend. So they still are very much in each other's lives indirectly. And throughout this grieving process, they've still kind of held each other at arm's length, but now they're at a point where they're at least Sloane is. She's just like, why don't you like me? What happened? What did I ever do to you? And through that, we start to kind of unravel some history that existed between Sloane and Dominic, which goes back to the prologue of the book, right? And I will say, okay. So because we know this is a romance book, let me step back because I'm getting a little bit too excited. It was annoying me that Sloane wasn't making a connection of her past encounter with Dominic, like she didn't remember him, right? That was annoying me because were you drunk? Were you drugged? Like, how would you not have remembered him? But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so they get to, he helps her out of a sticky situation, comes to her rescue, and she starts to see another side of him. And then they start to talk, and, she's like, what did I ever do to you? And she kind of realizes, oh, okay, I remember now. I can't believe I've forgotten. And, they try to go through that whole thing. But here's the thing. Whereas Sloane may have forgotten about him and went on with her life and got married to his best friend nonetheless, he never forgot about her or got over her. So we learned kind of like that's where the anger was coming from, right? But and that's not a spoiler, right? Because this is, like I said, it's a romance book, and there's a lot of levels of predictability in romance books. And the author starts the book off with a prologue that's going to get you to this misunderstanding between the two of these characters. What the book itself is about is how these people are able to kind of let go of their grief, their guilt, and move forward. And it's the story itself and how they do that, I feel, is what would be enticing to readers, right? I just looked at my notes, and I just want to go back and say Eric, the husband and the best friend, he's been dead for 4 years. So yeah, he's been dead for 4 years. It wasn't like recently. But anyway, what I liked about the story is there was actual real chemistry between the two of them, and even their dislike of each other, you could tell it was just kind of like some tit for tat stuff, like, oh, if you're going to like that with me, well, I'm going to act like that with you. It wasn't ever really any true hate. I mean, Dominic, I think under his thing was being hurt. He was more hurt than hateful, right? But they had some really good banter between the two of them. I like the pacing of it. It's not one of those stories where, the husband died 6 months ago and then the best friend swoops in and him and the ex-wife or the widow live happily ever after. No, they're having to really work for it. And there's these moments because of their relationship with Eric, the deceased, where they really are both kind of like, this is wrong. But is it though? Once you kind of learn their history and things like that. So I feel like it wasn't like really angsty. I feel like it was just enough of that to, in my opinion, maybe make the reader root for them. Like, y'all are okay. It's okay. He's been dead for 4 years. He wants y'all to be happy. You would come at it like that, kind of, as opposed to, oh no, they are both so dead wrong or whatever. But, and also, like I mentioned, the thing that I disliked was Sloane just, because let me go back. I think I've mentioned this before. I cannot stand when authors paint their characters as being so smart and intuitive and business savvy and successful, but like they do dumb shit like that makes no sense. And that's the only thing I can say about this book that I didn't like. I mean, I liked every other aspect of it. The supporting characters, I like the past present narrative, and the dynamic between the two of them. They ended up working together on a project, because of the type of work they do, their work crossed over. The steamy moments were steaming. Those were written very well. So yeah, everything was really good. It was a really, really solid romance, except for that whole thing. It just wasn't believable to me that Sloane did not remember him, especially given his presence. I mean, he was so big and tall and handsome and this and that. Who forgets that? You know what I mean? But I mean, I guess you had to have some type of thing in there that had fueled this frenemy situation that they had found themselves in. And the other thing that I found weird, now I did find this weird. While I didn't have a problem with the two of them becoming a couple in the aftermath of, Eric passing away. I don't know how realistic it was. There was a couple of times where, like, let's say Dominic came over to Sloane's house, and she's a widow. She loved Eric, right? And so there's absolutely nothing wrong with her. She saved a shirt or something and she sleeps in it or whatever. But I feel like it was just weird to me that she would be intimate with him and then have to put on the shirt of her ex-husband's to sleep in, or that he allowed her to keep her wedding rings. And I know, like, you don't want to get rid of that person's memory, and it was his friend too, but I feel like there was another way that she could have, like, kept his memory alive. That just was weird to me. And maybe this is a small spoiler, but there was a scene where they were intimate, and like afterwards, like, she went to put on some clothes and she put on her ex-husband's shirt and went to sleep in the arms of his best friend. That was hella weird. Like, why? I mean, if you have a piece of jewelry or, something from your ex and you keep it on a chain around your neck, it is what it is. But I don't know. I feel like I'm spending too much time on that. That was just weird to me. And it kind of made me go, okay, what's that all about? It just didn't sit well with my spirit. But other than that, the story was beautifully told. It was very well written. Like I said, dynamic characters, chemistry, side characters, everything was chef's kiss. Now, some of the triggers, obviously, there's the death of a spouse. So if you're someone who lost someone recently or close to you, or a love, or a husband or something, it may trigger something, because there are some emotional moments when talking about her ex and the day leading up to when he died, and just, the memories she had of him and the kind of the guilt of letting him go. So those are some deep moments that are in the book that may trigger people that have gone through that. There's also mention of a miscarriage, so be mindful of that as well. But yeah, other than that, everything was really good. And I feel like the main takeaway from the story, because let me just say this, one of my favorite tropes, like when it comes to romance genre, I love a good enemies to lovers. That's always top tier for me. But then also the second chance romance. Love it, love it, love it. The majority of the books that I write that are in the romance genre are going to have some type of element of second chance, whether it's a second chance for a couple going through something, or a second chance for, unrequited love, or just a second chance for somebody to have at love who lost love or something like that. So having those tropes in there, just like I said, can't say enough about that. But I think that the reason why I feel so strongly about the second chance thing is because I feel like a lot of people, this is in real life, books or whatever, they kind of give up once they've lost something or someone, and maybe they don't think that they're either worthy of love, they don't think they'll ever find it again. And I just feel like if you keep your heart and mind open, I mean, a lot of times it doesn't come packaged the way we think it's going to come packaged, and it may surprise us. But if you remain open, I feel like the universe will always provide what you need. So, yes. So, yeah, Restore Me by J.L. Seegars. I would highly recommend it. If there are... there's a sequel. No, two. There's two other books that I know about that are already available by this author with some of the other characters that are in the book. Like, I think Eric, the man who died, his sister and Sloane were best friends. I think the next book is her story. So, you can stay in that universe for as long as you want. But if anything I've said today throughout my rambling is something that you think you would enjoy, or if you're just looking for a good romance story that's kind of steamy, featuring successful Black people, that has some angst also woven in, then Restore Me would definitely fit the bill. If you ever read Restore Me and you think I was just doing too much with the whole t-shirt thing. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on how you felt about that situation or how you felt about the book. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video. And if you have not taken the opportunity to do so, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Turn on that post notification bell. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you next week. Bye.